What's going on, Saints fans? Hope y'all are having a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 5 cut candidates for players on the current roster as we have the final preseason game coming at you in just a few days. So there's a lot of players on the roster who are either fighting for a spot because they're on the bubble or they're trying to solidify their spot in the roster. Maybe they get beat out by somebody else. So I wanted you to get in the comment section, be the GM for me. Who's a player that you think will get cut this offseason before week 1? I want you to get down in the comment section, take a quick second, pause it if you have to, but I need you to put your GM hat on right now. So, cut candidate number 1, Kendre Miller. Now, let's talk about Kendre Miller because the curious case of Kendre, it has been extremely frustrating in my opinion. He came into New Orleans as a 3rd-round pick, and he had a lot of pros. There was a lot of good things. But I'm also old enough to remember the Saints took Kendre Miller over a fan favorite and the hometown kid in Tyjae Spears. And Tyjae is having a phenomenal career so far in Tennessee. Kendre has barely been on the field thus far. And with Jordan Mims, his emergence and how well he's been doing this offseason through training camp in the preseason, it seems like he is actually winning over a lot of love from the coaches and the fans. And on top of that, I think Dennis Allen seems pretty frustrated with this whole injury situation. He came into the league with a knee injury, and now he's dealing with the hamstring injury, and Dennis Allen adding this on it. Look, that's a player that's going to have to figure out how to stay healthy because it's hard to make the team when you're in the training room all the time. Now, this was a quote that came in on day 1 of training camp when Kendre got hurt. This quote came in today, not even 2 hours ago, on the day we filmed this, Wednesday, August 21st, on our live show. I know he's talented, but I don't know if he can learn the system. I don't know if he can pick up the system because I haven't seen him out there. Now, I do have some good news for those of you who are still very high on Kendre Miller, like me, and even the coaching staff, because I do believe even if you were to say, Kendre, you're cut, we're putting on the practice squad, he's going to get scooped up. A team is going to go and get him, and my biggest fear is that Kendre goes to another team and makes us pay for it. But there is a new rule in place this year that the NFL added this offseason. Teams can now place 2 players on the injured reserve list on roster cutdown day, and those 2 players can be designated to return. So Kendre Miller could be placed on the IR, but designated to return in the regular season. And I do think that might be the route that the Saints go here. And I think that that opens up the path for Jordan Mims to make the roster. And a lot of fans of the Saints have started to really like what they've seen from Jordan Mims. And there is the Fresno State connection of him and Jake Haener. They played together for some time on the Bulldogs. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But I want to see Kendre Miller get healthy. I think that he can be a good player. He's just got to get on the damn field. So if you want Kendre Miller to get healthy, I think every single one of us should be typing our 25. If you don't want him to get healthy, you're crazy. Because this is a player who can make the team better for the long term. Because at some point, Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams, they're going to get old, and they're not going to be on the roster. So Kendre Miller, let's send him some good vibes. Now, cut candidate number 2, I got Isaiah Foskey, another 2023 day 2 pick. Isn't that crazy how that works? It's so wild, you know. The number 40 overall selection, he's been underwhelming. That's needless to say. He has not been good to start his NFL career. There's been a lot of talk about how he had like a mental block going last year, and Dennis Allen saying he wants him to cut it loose, to turn things up, get after it, get active, go and get the damn quarterback. And he also had a slow start to the preseason. In the first game, didn't log a single stat. In game 2 against the Niners, he had 2 tackles, almost had a sack, and it was almost a beautiful sack, giggity. But he whiffed, and thus the 49ers were able to make a play. So it's been not all that great for Isaiah Foskey, which in my opinion is wild considering coming out of Notre Dame, this was a player that had a lot of hype around him. 122 tackles over his career with the Fighting Irish, 31.5 tackles for loss, 26.5 sacks, and 7 forced fumbles. Isaiah Foskey, most of his production throughout his career, which has only been one season, came from special teams. And, there's been a little bit here and there, but when you're putting up this type of production and then you're getting this type of production, it's extremely frustrating. And with the Saints defensive line, there's a lot of good talent on that unit. And if he can't beat out Payton Turner, one, in my opinion, that's kind of alarming. And two, what do we got going on here? Like, Foskey has to put it together. And I do think that he has the high motor. I think he plays with a lot of speed. He's just got to get that mental block out of there, and he has to trust in himself, trust in his instincts, and at the end of the day, just go put your freaking lid on somebody's football. Go put your lid on the football and make a damn play. I tried to butcher it. Clearly, I will not be a Pee Wee coach anytime soon, but point being, Isaiah Foskey, I want to see you step it up a little bit. Charlie Smyth, could he actually win the kicker battle? We're going to talk about it here in a second, but I got to say shout out and say thank you to GameTime for sponsoring today's video. GameTime is the #1 ticketing app, in my opinion, and for a really good reason. GameTime helps me save money every time I want to go get tickets to a concert, comedy show, or any sort of live event. They have killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guaranteed. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to LSU games, Tulane football, the Saints, the Pelicans, whatever concert or comedy show or event you want to go to in your area. And when you download the GameTime app and you create an account, I encourage you to use code CHATSPORTS, and we'll actually hook you up with a $20 off your first purchase. And you can use those savings when you go and check out LSU versus USC out in Las Vegas in week 1 of the college football season, which will be here before you know it. And I'm looking at getting tickets here in Arlington for the Saints versus Cowboys game during week 2, and I'm hoping to see you there because I'm going to be getting my tickets through the GameTime app, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Terms do apply. Create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. Redeem code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So, cut candidate, numero Trace. I am also Trace. Blake Grupe. I actually have him as a cut candidate because he may lose his job to Charlie Smyth. And let's just take a quick walk down memory lane and look at what Blake Grupe did last year. He was perfect on extra points, which is really good to see. But from 20 to 29, he missed a few. He also missed a couple from 40 to 49. But he also did miss 3 from 50 plus. And with Charlie Smyth, this is a player who yesterday at practice at Tulane's football stadium, he was good from 65 yards. He might have been good from 70. The post and the video, it's out there. Go check it out on Twitter. Go check it out on YouTube. I tweeted out if you need to see it. But Charlie Smyth drilled a 65-yard field goal, and the reports are suggesting he's starting to find his groove. He's starting to get a little bit more consistent. So in terms of who will win the kicker battle, for me, Blake Grupe, he got all of the kicks in terms of field goal attempts and whatnot against the 49ers. But Charlie Smyth also nailed the game winner against Arizona in week 1. So this is a tough competition to try and settle here because Blake Grupe, he's been playing football for quite a while. He knows how to kick at a high level. You just got to do it consistently. Charlie Smyth, he has been kicking an American football for about a year now, maybe not even that long. It's been about a year, and we're already seeing him nail it from 65, and he's starting to learn how to make this a regularly consistent habit for him. Maybe that makes things a little tough. And I'm not saying just because Charlie Smyth can kick it from 65, he's going to beat Blake Grupe. But I do think that that's a little bit telling because Charlie Smyth, he's got a hell of a leg. He's got a boot. So I want you to pick a kicker for me. BG or CS, just type their initials down in the comment section. I want to see what you guys think. Now, cut candidate number 4, it's Kevin Austin Jr. He's a wide receiver that the Saints brought in not too long ago. And why I have him as a cut candidate, it's just been inconsistencies with him. 5 targets, 2 receptions throughout the preseason so far. And the Saints wide receiver group is pretty good if you ask me. I don't think that you're going to have Kevin Austin Jr. dethrone Cedric Wilson or Bub Means or Equanimous St. Brown for that matter. I think if any of these guys make the roster that aren't your Chris Olaves, A.T. Perry's, and Rashid Shaheed's, I think Mason Tipton might be a guy that gets in consideration. Maybe Shaq Davis. That's a player that the Saints had on their practice squad last year. He was a UDFA out of South Carolina State. got released by the Saints, or not released, but the Eagles went and signed him onto their practice squad. The Saints brought him back. So maybe he can make the roster. Who knows? But I don't think that Kevin Austin Jr. has the easiest route to the roster. I think that he actually has an uphill battle here. Now, my final cut candidate, it's actually going to be Khaleke Hudson, because I think that he may get beat out by Anthony Orji. And I haven't had the chance to go and listen to it yet, but Anthony Orji, he spoke to media after practice, and apparently it was some really, really cool things to say. Apparently he was very well-spoken, and he was very transparent and open with media, which is pretty cool if you ask me, because you don't always see that. But Anthony Orji, fun fact about him, he has 14 tackles right now. 10 of those are solo. And right now he is tied for 10th in the preseason for tackles, which, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But let's also sit here and celebrate that, because he is a top 10 producer in tackles in the preseason. And that's really, really good. Now, your top 3 linebackers, they're set in stone. Nefi Sewell, he is on the PUP list. Excuse me. So if Nefi Sewell starts the year on the PUP list, or is injured and goes on the IR, or whatever happens with him and his injury, maybe that opens up the path for Hudson and Anthony Orji to make the roster. But I don't see a world where you're going to not bring Jalen Ford in. I think DeMarco Jackson has done enough the past couple of years to prove that he is worth a roster spot. So for me, it's one extra spot, and that's going to come down to either Khaleke Hudson or Anthony Orji to me. And again, like I said, unless Nefi Sewell isn't healthy, I think it's going to be one of the two. And for me, I would personally go with Anthony Orji. And just a friendly reminder here, whenever we do these cut candidate videos, I see comments and people go take it to Twitter and say, I hate these players and I don't like them and I want them gone and I think that they suck. And that's not the case. That could not be further from the truth. I like these players. I think that they're all good football players. There's a reason that they're in the National Football League, and I am not. But I also can recognize that my team needs to make improvements, and my team has to make roster cuts, and some of those cuts will be tough decisions to make. And those decisions need to be made to improve the team the best and give them the best chance to win. So, friendly reminder, here are the 5 cut candidates we discussed in today's video. It's Kendre Miller, Isaiah Foskey, Blake Grupe, Kevin Austin Jr., Khaleke Hudson. 2 of those names are pretty notable considering they were day 2 picks in the 2023 draft. But at the end of the day, you need to see better production. Otherwise, you will not make it in the National Football League. So a really quick reminder, if you want to hit me up on social media, if you want to blast me for those takes, if you want to celebrate or share the takes or, make me look like a fool, or if you think I actually had some good thoughts, hit me up on X, Trace Girouard 48. You can also hit me up on Instagram. This is my Saints IG. I've been posting a lot of coverage there. Pictures, reels, fun stuff, all interactive and whatnot on my Instagram, Trace Girouard 48_. Feel free to hit me up on both of those accounts, and y'all stay golden. See you next time.